Everybody, welcome to the final 2023 NBA mock draft. This one obviously being after the draft lottery, and this is going to be the final one for this draft. And this, I think, my 6th or 7th one making this year. And now that we got the official order, this is going to be the last one. And with that said, let's just get right into it. With the first overall pick, we have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Brandon. I'm kidding. They have Wembanyama. If y'all clicked off right when I said that, I would understand. No, they're picking Wembanyama. Let's be honest. It just makes sense. They love foreign prospects. Wembanyama is probably one of the best foreign prospects of all time. He's insanely built. He's a freak of nature. He looks like a giraffe. He can shoot from everywhere. He can score from everywhere. His defense potential is high. Literally, the only knock on him is that no one his size has ever managed to stay healthy for long periods of time in the NBA, and that is a concern, but his potential just far outweighs, and you have to pick him no matter what if you have that first overall pick. So, with the first overall pick, we have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Victor Wembanyama. With the number 2 overall pick, we have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Brandon Miller. Now, before y'all get riot, I do not think Brandon Miller is better than Scoot Henderson. I just think Charlotte should probably trade this pick down, probably to the 3rd or 4th pick, because I don't think Scoot Henderson fits with LaMelo really at all. But if they do keep this pick, I would probably say they should draft Scoot Henderson. But just from a fit standpoint and the fact that I think they should probably trade this pick, I have them picking Brandon Miller, as he just fits with the team almost perfectly. He legitimately has superstar potential. He's an extremely good two-way player. He can score from everywhere. He's a knockdown three-point shooter. His defensive upside is very high, and just all around, he is going to be a great player in the NBA. And now with the 3rd overall pick, we have the Portland Trailblazers selecting Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson is an uber athletic guard. It probably would be the number 1 overall pick in almost any other draft that Wembanyama doesn't exist. And he's just one of those guys, super high upside. You can see exactly what he has. His 3-point percentage leaves a little bit to be desired, but it did improve from his first year in the G League. So it does show that he's been working on that, and it is improving as time goes on, which is a promising sign. And just his athleticism and his scoring upside gives him that super high potential that you really cannot pass up on. And I think Portland, if they were able to get in the situation where they could get Scoot Henderson, I think that would be a very big piece to keep Damian Lillard around, because they already have Shadyon Sharpe, and Shadyon Sharpe shown tons of high upside as well. So I think maybe those 2 young guys, along with a lot of veterans they can add in free agency and some of the guys they already have on the roster, maybe they can kind of convince Damian Lillard to rethink wanting to be traded away from there. With the 4th overall pick, we have the Houston Rockets selecting Azure Thompson. Now, I'm one of the few people that actually thinks Azure Thompson is the better Thompson twin. I get that Eamon Thompson has the flashy plays. He's a very good passer, but his 3-point percentage is god-awful. He's not as good of a defender as Azure, and they're about the same athlete. So I just think Azure is a little bit better of a player. Now, I think they're very, very close, but overall, I think Azure is better. Like I said, Azure is an excellent defender. He plays extremely fast, tons of good athleticism. His 3-point shot is a little bit farther along than his brothers, and I think they could just form a very young, very good big 4 going into next year with Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith, and Azure Thompson. I know they didn't have a great year this year, and a lot of people point to the fact that they even had a worse record this year, but they lost tons of veterans. Christian Wood was their best player 2 years ago, and they lost him, so obviously their record got worse, but Jalen Green did have a better sophomore year. Jabari Smith didn't have a terrible rookie season. Now, he might not have been as good as people wanted him to be, but he was still extremely solid, and he is going to keep improving. Sengun keeps developing. Tari Eason looked very, very good, and now I think Azure Thompson would be a great addition to this team as well. And now moving to the 5th overall pick, we have the Detroit Pistons selecting Eamon Thompson, the other half of the Thompson twins. Now, Eamon Thompson, like I said, although I'm not as high on him as some people, I think he is still going to be a very, very solid player. His athleticism, his speed, his passing is all at an elite level. Now, he just has to work on that 3-point shot a lot, and if his jumper can get consistent, he is going to be very, very hard to deal with, because he's an elite playmaker. He can get to the rim very good, and he's good at finishing around the rim as well. I just would like to see him be able to knock down jump shots, because I don't know many guards in the NBA that can last when their 3-point percentage is as down as his is. So if he is able to improve that, I think he has legit star potential, but until that point, I would like to see him develop a little bit more, and that's why I have him falling to 5th. But overall, for a fit perspective, I think he would fit very well in Detroit, because Cade Cunningham is kind of like a slower paced guy, get his teammates involved type guy, while although Eamon Thompson is very capable of getting his teammates involved as well, he can play very fast and kind of be like the yin to Cade Cunningham's yang, if you will. And then also, I think guys like Jaden Ivey and other players like that would all fit very, very well as well. And I just think overall Eamon is too good to pass up at the 5th overall. And now 6th overall, we have the Orlando Magic selecting Cam Whitmore. Now, once again, a player that I'm not nearly as high on as a lot of other people, but I think Cam Whitmore would fit with his Orlando Magic team extremely, extremely well. And I know what a lot of y'all are probably thinking. They have Paolo. Why the hell would they, or they have Paolo, whatever. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. Why would they need Cam Whitmore? Well, Paolo can literally play any position. You can move him to the shooting guard position, and it would just do just as good. You can move him to point guard if you want as well. So you can move him wherever you want. Keep Franz at the small forward position, put Cam Whitmore at power forward, and put Wendell Carter at center. And now your team is extremely, extremely solid. And now you're getting an elite defender and an elite rebounder in Cam Whitmore, who has extremely high offensive upside due to his athleticism. And I just think overall Cam Whitmore would be an extremely, extremely good fit. And keep in mind that Orlando has 2 picks in the lottery this year, so that also played into this decision as well. And 7th overall, we have the Indiana Pacers selecting Taylor Hendricks. Now, Taylor Hendricks is an extremely, extremely solid two-way player. He has legit star-level potential. Now, whether he hit that or not, that's tough to say. But I think no matter what, Taylor Hendricks is going to be a very solid player. He's extremely talented on the offensive end, and he's also very solid on the defensive end. And I think their front court now would be, Isaiah Jackson, Miles Turner, and then himself. And I think that would be an extremely, extremely good 3, because Isaiah Jackson is an extremely underrated defender who's very young and still has offensive upside and potential to hit, while I think Taylor Hendricks could start right away and give them production on both sides. And then Miles Turner is also very good as well on defense and offense. So I think they would just be a very good front court. And with them already having Tyrese Halliburton and even other guys like Buddy Hield on the roster to help the offensive flow, I think he would benefit very well from playing with guys like that. And 8th overall, we have the Washington Wizards selecting Anthony Black. Now, Anthony Black is a 6'7" point guard out of Arkansas, and he is just extremely, extremely good. He's one of the most talented passers in the entire draft. He's a very good defender. Now, although I don't know if he will be a star, I think he will be guaranteed to at least be an extremely high-level role player and a very, very good type Josh Giddey-esque player. Now, I see a lot of Josh Giddey in him, and in my opinion, he's a more athletic Josh Giddey, and I think Anthony Black would be able to get guys like Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis to be able to play off the ball a lot more, get a lot of pressure off of them, and would be able to get them the ball in the right spots right away. And then even their guard they picked last year, Johnny Davis, although he did have a disappointing rookie season, at the end of the year when he got extended playing time in the NBA, he actually looked a lot better than expected. So I think Johnny Davis also they shouldn't give up on him. So they might even have a little bit of a backcourt in the future going forward in Washington if they make this pick with Anthony Black. And now for the Utah Jazz, I have them picking Chris Murray. Now, Chris Murray is not my 9th best player in this class, but I do think he's going to be extremely, extremely solid. I don't think he's going to be a star or anything, but no matter what, in my opinion, he is going to be a very solid role player who is extremely good on both sides. He has a dead-eye three-pointer. He can score from basically all 3 levels as well, and I just think overall he's going to be a very talented offensive player that does have defensive upside as well, and overall is not going to ever lose you a game. And I really don't know what else to give them because they already have a lot of guards. They have Colin Sexton and guys like that, so getting them Nick Smith Jr. wouldn't make any sense. And then they also have bigs in Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen and Kelly Olynyk, who are all very solid. So I don't think they're going to go that direction. Their biggest weakness is Rudy Gay at small forward, and that's going to be the one they have to replace the soonest. And I think that's why they would be picking Chris Murray right here with the 9th overall pick. And 10th overall, we have the Dallas Mavericks selecting Jarace Walker. Now, Jarace Walker, I'm not as high on him as most once again, but I do think Jarace Walker is going to be a very, very good defender in the NBA, and that is exactly what Dallas needs, because the amount of ISO ball they run with Luka, and maybe if they bring Kyrie Irving back, their entire system is based pretty much solely off of ISO ball with Luka and Kyrie. Now, although maybe not this system that's going to win you the most games, that's probably the system they're going to stick with going forward. So I think getting just an elite defender, off-ball guy that can impact the game without the ball in his hands will be extremely, extremely effective, and they're probably going to lose Christian Wood, so getting another big that can rebound, play elite defense, and maybe even score the ball in the future, I think is going to be a very, very good pick, 10th overall for the Dallas Mavericks. And with the 11th overall pick, we have the Orlando Magic selecting for the second time in the lottery, and I have them picking Cason Wallace. Now, Cason Wallace is one of the best defensive guards in this entire class. Yes, his offensive game isn't great, but it's not bad either. It's extremely solid, and I think it will translate to the NBA, and he plays a lot like a Drew Holiday type player, and trust me, every team in the NBA wants a Drew Holiday type player, especially because he'll probably be coming off the bench next year because Markelle Fultz has solidified himself as the starting point guard, but I think in a few years, Cason Wallace might be able to take that spot or just move Fultz to shooting guard, and overall, I think Cason Wallace is going to be an extremely, extremely good player for them, and with them already getting an elite defender in Cason Wallace to add another elite defender at the point guard position, their defense is going to be getting a ginormous boost. And 12th overall, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder selecting Gregory Jackson. Now, Gregory Jackson, I do like him more than a lot of people, but I don't have him going that high, but I think he's going to be one of the most high upside project players in this entire NBA draft because he is extremely athletic, has great length, great size for a player. He can literally guard 1 through 4, and in the beginning of the year, he was on fire. He showed how high his offensive upside could be, and if his three-point percentage can get higher, he could be one of the best two-way players in this entire class and might even have a little bit of star potential as well going forward. And I think OKC could benefit a lot from having a guy like that off their bench because really they don't have any other big men besides Chet Holmgren on this entire roster and Dario Saric, and he's not even that big. I think a physical guy like Gregory Jackson who's going to get in your chest, play hard, play with high energy, who has great size and can be very versatile will be very valuable to a team like OKC, and I think he would be a great fit for this roster. And now 13th overall, we have the Toronto Raptors going with Maxwell Lewis Jr. Now, Maxwell Lewis Jr. in the beginning of the draft process was one of my favorite players. Now, he kind of fell off a little bit. He got injured for a little bit, then he kind of just slowed down after that, but he is an extremely high upside, good scoring small forward at 6'7". He can score from all three levels. He has defensive upside. He's athletic, and I just think overall he could potentially be the steal of this entire draft class. He is very, very good. Maxwell Lewis, I think, has very high upside and would be a great player to come off their bench as a scoring threat, as an all-around just very good threat for the Toronto Raptors going forward in the future. And now for the final pick in the 2023 NBA Draft Lottery, we have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting Nick Smith Jr. Now, I do like Nick Smith Jr. a lot more than most, and I don't know if he will fall this far, and I think maybe someone like Jordan Hawkins is probably more realistic here, but I do think if Nick Smith Jr. was to fall here, the Pelicans would love to pick him because he is exactly what they are missing, which is just a absolute bucket off their bench, because when Zion went down, they really struggled to have anyone scoring off the bench because Trey Murphy had to get moved to the starting lineup, and I just think them having a guy that can come off the bench, get him a bucket whenever they need to, and have that potential to pop off any given night is extremely, extremely valuable for any team, and I think that's exactly what the New Orleans Pelicans would be able to get while being able to keep the same starting five that plays very good together when they are healthy. So I think if they were able to get this pick, they would jump on the opportunity. But unfortunately, guys, that's more for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think these are how the pick should go? How do you think it's going to go? Any other thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to point, hit the like button and subscribe button. I mean the absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day. Because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah.